Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video on Goat and Sons channel. I am Goat, and I'm going to be starting a new series on the channel. I'm going to go through all 32 teams and go in depth on their roster and schedule. And I don't know about far in depth, but in depth just to see what their roster looks like. Go through the schedule, predict what I think. My last prediction, that was just going off of last year and just basic knowledge or basic prediction. Now I'm going to be doing a little bit more in depth. So by the time the regular season rolls around, I will have my full final prediction. I'll say that'd be out around probably the week before preseason, late July probably. But I want to talk about some players, then the coaches, and then I'll get into the schedule. First off, their offensive coordinator, Todd Haley. Not much to say about him. The only thing I've read up about him, for the past 5 seasons, he was Pittsburgh's offensive coordinator. Now that is a huge up for Cleveland. I think he could be someone good they could bring in for that. But going to defensive coordinator, Greg Williams. He runs a 4-3 scheme. I'm pretty sure I read. He runs aggressive, so he wants to shake up the offense on defense, and then he was the defensive coordinator for the 2009 Saints. Now I think the offensive defensive coordinator, they're okay. The coach is the problem. Hugh Jackman, I think he's going to be the biggest problem on this team. His overall record in Cleveland is 1-31. That is a problem. That is a catastrophic problem. You cannot go to the playoffs and win a Super Bowl with that coach. So starting off, I want to talk about Baker Mayfield. He's a rookie. Go over a few of his stats. He threw for 4,627 yards in his last season. He had a 70.5 completion rating. 43 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, and a 198.9 QB rating. Now, Cleveland needs this. I know they have Tyrod Taylor. He's really just mobile, but I think Baker Mayfield is a huge step up, and I think he's going to do good. Jarvis Landry, 112 receptions, 987 yards, averaging 8.89 touchdowns. Jarvis Landry was a steal. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan and sad to see him go, but Cleveland, they got themselves one of the best receivers in the league, and he will do damage. He got Myles Garrett. He had 12 assisted tackles. He had 7 sacks and 31 solo tackles, I'm pretty sure. He's good. He's on Cleveland for a reason. He's a good player. Well, Cleveland for Josh Gordon, 18 receptions, 335 yards, averaging 18.6, 1 touchdown. Josh Gordon is a good wide receiver number 3. He is a good number 3, not a top 2. He could be a top 3, maybe a top 4, but I think he will be a good, he'll be a good number 3 receiver. You also have Corey Coleman, 23 receptions, 305 yards, 13.3 averaging, 2 touchdowns. Like I said, these are good. He'd be a number 2 in this case. I think he is a little better than Josh Gordon, but these touchdowns, 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns. Yeah, that's gonna have to change. Cleveland, you went 0-16, so I can understand why there's very low touchdowns, but that's got to change this season. Running back Carlos Hyde, 240 attempts, 938 yards, 3.9 average, 8 touchdowns, and 59 receptions. That is a lot of throwing to the running back. I know last year he was at San Francisco, so but nearly 1,000 yards, that's pretty good. The averaging, could be better. 8 touchdowns, I guess that's okay. Rookie running back Nick Chubb, 223 attempts, 1,345 yards, 6 yards an average, 15 touchdowns, and 4 receptions. That is a running back Cleveland needs. Someone who can get over 1,000 yards, averaging more than half what it takes to get a first down, 15 touchdowns, over 1 a game in college, but in the NFL that means he missed 1 game. for a touchdown. I think that's really good. I think he was a really good player for them to pick. David Njoku, 32 receptions, 386 yards, 12.1 average, 4 touchdowns. That is a decent tight end. I think Cleveland will be okay with him. Rookie corner, Denzel Ward, 30 solo tackles, 7 assists, and 2 interceptions. That is an okay cornerback. I think he was a good pick in the draft. Another rookie, defensive end, Chad Thomas, 19 solo tackles, 22 assists, 12.5 sack. 12.5 tackles for loss. My bad. And then 5 sacks, or 4.5. I think he is an okay defensive end. I think he will do good on this team. Rookie Simeon Thomas. I forgot to write down his position, so I don't know. I think he's another defensive lineman. 33 solo tackles and 9 assists and 3 yards per tackle for loss. That is an okay. That is average for Cleveland. Better than last year. This is like I said, these are players they needed. So that's going over some of the basics on the team. Now I want to get into the predicting, the final part of the video. But week 1, they're at home against Pittsburgh. I think that's going to be a loss. I think the team's going to be fresh, and Pittsburgh's just an all-around better team. I mean, Todd Haley could do damage, seeing as he was the pass offensive coordinator. He can know what they could run. Another defensive coordinator was a former Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator, but I think Pittsburgh will get the upper hand and win. Week 2 at New Orleans. I think New Orleans will win that game. I think these first 2 games won't exactly be really close, but Cleveland could keep it in. But I think they'll start off 0-2. Week 3 at home against the Jets. I think that's going to be a win, an overtime win, actually. I think the Cleveland Browns will squeak away with their first win of the season. Then going at Oakland, I think that's going to be another decimating loss. Cleveland will fall to 1-3, I think. I just don't see this team forming that quickly to do damage. Week 5, I have them beating Baltimore. I think this will start to see improvement with Cleveland with this team. This is a dangerous team. If these coordinators can do what they could do, and if Hugh Jackman can get his head out of his you-know-what, this team can actually be good. This roster is meant to be a good team. But Hugh Jackman, like I said, he will be the main problem. I guarantee you if it was any other coach, I could see this team going to the playoffs. I think they will beat Baltimore. Then at home against the LA Chargers, I think Cleveland will get another win. At Tampa Bay, I think they will get another win. They will go on a 3-game win streak, and they will go to 4-3. They'll start winning close games. They will start looking like a good team. Then at Pittsburgh, I think Pittsburgh will win again. They will drop to 4-4. I think Pittsburgh's just the better team. At home against Kansas City and Atlanta, I think those would be 2 losses. I don't think Cleveland's better than those 2 teams. Even though Kansas City will have Mahomes and not Smith, I think by that time, Mahomes he'll start being an okay quarterback. Going into the bye week, they're 4-6. So, coming out of the bye week at Cincinnati, I think that's a win. I think Cincinnati's going to be the worst team in that division this year. I think Cleveland will get away with a few-point win. Then at Houston, I think this will be their best showing of the season. I think they will actually beat Houston by a pretty large portion. Like I said, I also do not think Houston is a top team. I think they're below average. Versus Carolina, I think they will lose a very close one. I think they could possibly even win it. I think this will be one of the biggest games of the season for them. At Denver, I think they will squeak away with a field goal win. So that means they'd be 7-7. Versus Cincinnati, I think they'll sweep Cincinnati. And at Baltimore in week 17, I think they will lose. I think Baltimore will get a split, and they'll get a split. And I see Cleveland going 8-8. Final prediction as of right now, 8-8. I'll go through all 32 teams, and then I'll try to make big 8-part series of each division. Go back, change a few things if I don't like how it is, but as of right now, my final prediction for the Cleveland Browns is 8-8. Going through their top players, the coaches, the schedule. I think not Josh. I think Hugh Jackman would be the biggest problem on this team. If he wasn't the coach, or if he starts coaching like a real coach, this team could easily be 10-6, 9-7. I think they can easily be 9-7. 10-6 could be pushing it a little bit. 11-5, no. So highest, I think they could be 10-6, but as of right now, I think 8-8. And the lowest for them, I think, can be 3-13. Honestly, this team could go in there and they could just flop. But my prediction 8-8 as of right now. I think Baker Mayfield, he will do a great job. He will bring in a new era to Cleveland. I could be wrong, but as of right now, that's how I feel.